paid-it-all winner for this.
It's the biggest race we have all year long.
The icons of this sport have all starred on its biggest stage.
It's the great American race. Trust me.
I won the Daytona 500. I won the Daytona 500.
Pull them belts tight one last time, boys. Light the fire.
Push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Priest upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
You got plenty of money. Don't need that to keep racing. Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Sure, to win.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Mike D.Y. Joined by two of my best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Aric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Ryan Blaney type of weekend. The defending champ goes on to defend once again, winning his way into the round of 4 down in Martinsville. It's a huge race weekend this weekend. Very important race going on. No, I'm not talking about Erection Day today. I'm talking about the championship racing going on in Phoenix. We'll get it all in. But first, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about the podcast, even though next week will be our last episode probably for the up until our Daytona preview show. Maybe we'll sneak one or two in the off season. But boys, I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement that we're burnt out on NASCAR. I'm looking forward to like 90 days off, and that's about it in the off season, right?
Need it though, boys. Need it. Need those 90, whatever that number of days is. I agree, White. You can't come soon enough.
90 days off, and I think I challenge, and it's going to be hard, especially with the three of us, but I'm going to challenge all of us to stay away from the NASCAR world as much as we possibly could, and just try to get a refresher and go into next season as fresh as can be.
So last year I stepped away completely for the most part, and it was right around February I started watching old races again, like the beginning of February. Maybe late January. So we'll see how it goes. I think Aric was completely devoid of NASCAR news and everything all last off season. So
I muted and unfollowed a few people that I'm like, okay, what I don't need them for anything right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let me just not even see any kind of glimpses of anything. And you need it. It's a helpful tool to disengage and disassociate. And I think the three of us all need to, get a different viewpoint of NASCAR and get a refreshing view of it, maybe, and maybe let some of this, sour taste in our mouths that we got this season and in more ways than we would have liked. But you need to wash that away over the off season, and I can't wait for it. I cannot wait. Obviously, what happened this weekend is another tall tale sign of why we can't wait. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to crown a champion. I'm ready to be pissed off at that champion and bitch in our last episode too.
No. No. Because when Tyler Reddick crosses that finish line in Phoenix and hoists that trophy up, all will be right in the world, I say.
That and I said this midweek to you boys in a text message. I said that is probably the only way that I won't be fully pissed off is if that is the outcome. I feel like, it gives Denny kind of a little bit of, a reward as an owner for winning and a good, fuck you during the whole lawsuit of everything too. So, yes, I agree, White Man. If that does go down at Phoenix, if Reddick doesn't wipe out in that dog leg coming off the track, you know what I mean?
There's no
that
grass,
is going to be an issue, boys.
There's no grass. He's good.
There's no grass in the desert. We should be all right. Hopefully, dude, that brings it up because I'm up in the fence of what I want to do, because obviously, we know our friends, there's going to be a party somewhere, whether I'm assuming either at your house or Shrey's house, someone always throws a party, I'm guessing. I don't know if I want to go anywhere. I think I want to watch this race.
I always told Shredder to throw one, for the last race. I always told him to. So, but no, dude, whenever your team or driver or whatever, bro, there's always that path to sit in your own recliner at your house at the leisure of how you want to absorb that race. And, there would be no question or hard feelings from anybody if that's the path that you chose. I think any any crazy sports fan, which now you have entered that realm, you know, with NASCAR, they have these type of moments where you just want to be zoned in. You want to be locked in on your guy and the race, and I want no distractions from it. I'll never forget it. 2005, I locked myself in my basement to watch Texas USC, and I was by myself, nobody else, just me. And it was like, you needed that. I needed the space. I needed the time when I just need. Yes. So I will support that move if that's the route you choose.
When that game ended, I picked up I believe it was a pink Motorola Razr phone because my actual phone was broken or not charging or something. And I dialed Eric's number, and it's still the same number, so I won't say it out loud. It's one of those numbers that Eric's had forever, so everyone memorized it. And I called in. You were just like in tears and excited.
Oh yeah.
Notre Dame made it to the national championship back in 2012. Went to our buddy's house, Mike Gallagher, who's also a huge Notre Dame fan. And that game, for anyone who watches college football, Notre Dame lost in like the first 5 minutes of the game. Like that game was over. Alabama just ran all over Notre Dame, and Mike threw a huge party. And all I wanted to do was go home and be by myself.
Yeah.
So I've made it, and it looks like I'm never gonna have to make this decision anytime soon. But if Notre Dame ever makes it to another national championship, or if the Jets ever make it to a Super Bowl, I want to be alone. Like obviously my wife and my kid. But like, I want to be left alone, no party, no nothing, just leave me and Whitey. So we say all that to say we understand if you just want to be left alone on Sunday.
The problem is, how do I explain to my girlfriend that I want to use the one room that's pretty much empty to set up the projector in there, draw the blinds, the blackout shades, and sit in the dark with a 6-pack, maybe a 12-pack, depending on how the race is going, and just be left alone.
It's what men do. It's what we do as a species. It's just there's something in us that
my dark room alone.
Say this, you cannot explain it. You can't explain it. It's something that is just not wired for them to understand. It's just not. You can't explain it.
Let me tell you something. I think what you're probably preparing yourself for is the worst, because you're not preparing yourself for the best. Because if you're preparing yourself for the best, you'd want to be amongst people, right? You're preparing yourself for the worst. It's animalistic nature to want to die alone. When you shoot a deer and a deer runs off, it runs to water and it dies alone. That's what you're preparing to do.
Same thing with cats. Even when they're indoor cats, they try to get out and that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. That's very profound.
You don't want to get anyone else sick with whatever you have, so you die off on your own, so you don't infect the rest of the fucking tribe, dude.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Hence I want to sit in the darkness. Whatchamacallit? Speaking of your Jets, though, Matt, are they?
No.
Well, no.
So we don't need to talk about the Jets.
No. So the reason why I ask, are they still viable to get into the Super Bowl at all? Like any pathway for them?
Mathematically, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Actually, believe it or not, they're very much alive.
Okay. The reason why
only because there's only a couple really good teams, and everyone else is just going to like claw their way to 500 or there is no more 500 records in the NFL because there's odd number of games. But like most of the teams that make it to the playoffs are going to be like a game over 500. So yeah. And they've got a favorable schedule. You're getting me worked up. You're getting me talking about the New York Jets. Yes, they have a chance, but I know better after 34 years of being a Jets fan that there is really no chance.
So the reason why I ask is I saw this wild 5-leg parlay that this guy's had going on. He picked Connecticut for the NCAA men's basketball champion.
I saw it.
Right?
Cash out.
He picked the Celtics to win, the Panthers to win, and the Dodgers to win the World Series this year. Right now, he's the only leg that didn't hit is the New York Jets outright winning the Super Bowl. And it was a $51 bet to win $1 million. So I understand wanting to let it ride, but he could have cashed out last week for $4,000. They won this week, right? So now I want to know how much his cash out is now.
It probably went down.
No, it would have went up. If
Yeah, if they get closer to doing it, they want you to cash out.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, you're right, because they're trying to persuade him to cash out because never mind.
So I was just curious if that guy's still like, if it was me, I would have cashed out long ago. Like, get the fuck out of here, guaranteed money, baby. But I guess some people aren't as desperate for money as I am, especially. Especially around, we got the holidays coming up. Like, come on, it's thousands of dollars on the line. Anyways, we got a whole NASCAR weekend to talk about. But first, some NASCAR. Oh, no, how was your guys' weekend? We didn't even check in. Yeah, we're 13 minutes in though.
I'm still getting over the COVID sickness that I had last week, and now I'm dealing with a bunch of hive situation tonight. So, weekend was kind of somber, did do nothing, laid around, and here I am just still trying to nurse my way out of it.
I forgot about the hives already, man. Eric's on two doses of Benadryl, so if he doesn't make it through the end of the show, that's why. And
if you're watching on YouTube right now and you just take the slider and fast forward all the way to the end of the episode, you're just going to see Eric slouch over in his seat.
Matt, you have a good weekend though? Good weekend for you?
I have a bunch of time saved up. So I purposely do that every year, take a lot of time off around this year, especially for hunting. So I took off, I gave myself a 4-day weekend, hunted all weekend except for Sunday. So
nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, did you see anything? I think you saw some stuff.
I saw a ton of deer. Just archery is a whole different animal, man. You got to get them within a certain distance, and it's just tough. Last night I saw a really nice buck, but it was 90 yards out, and Eric can tell you 90 yards is about
that's 50, way too far.
About 55, 60 yards too far.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That makes a lot of sense. But I hope you get something before the end of the year.
I have a couple more opportunities, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm hoping so. And they're around. The fact that I'm even seeing them is good.
All right, nice. How's your freezer still? Is your freezer still full from last year?
Running low.
Yeah.
I'm running low on my meat. So.
All right. Well, I had a typical. I don't even remember what I did this weekend, to be honest with you. It's all fucking blur. Oh, it was my mother's birthday. Shout out to Mom Dukes.
Hey, happy birthday!
Last Friday was her birthday. We took her out on Saturday, so I had a nice dinner with her, and then the rest of the weekend just kind of chilling. And I missed all the NASCAR races except for the Cup race, but I didn't miss the NASCAR news this week. Only one big story to talk about, but it is a doozy. If you didn't catch the end of Martinsville, it ended in controversy, and there's a little bit of race manipulation, it seems, definitely from the 1 and the 3 car to help William Byron, their team Chevy partner, out, but also Bubba Wallace dropped a couple spots back with a possible flat tire. I think that one's still kind of debatable, but the hammer dropped today right before the show. The crew chiefs, spotters, and team executives from the teams of the 1 car, Ross Chastain, Austin Dillon's 3 car, and Bubba Wallace's 23 car have each been suspended for the Phoenix race following the team's actions at the end of Martinsville race. In addition, the teams and drivers have been fined $100,000 and assessed a 50-point penalty that puts Austin Dillon back into 33rd in the point standings from 28th. Ross Chastain didn't move, and Bubba Wallace dropped one position from 17th to 18th in the point standings. So big hit there, points and fine. Pretty interesting. So if you didn't see the race, what happened was William Byron needed to not lose 2 spots to Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell needed to gain 2 spots on William Byron. Christopher Bell was a lap down at the time. He was not in the lucky dog free pass position, but Bubba Wallace was. And he was actually about 3 spots ahead of Christopher Bell, a lap down. Bubba, at some point, it's hard to tell because television edited the audio and put the audio, it made it seem like it all happened on the last lap, but there was a couple laps where Bubba said he felt like his tire was going down, and then lap after lap, Eric, you watched the video a lot. You kind of saw the car.
I think it was around like with 20 to go. Is when they started, like when all the in-car cameras started coming out and, oh, listen to this guy, listen to this guy. It was around 20 to go. and it was right after Denny went around Bubba.
Yeah.
As soon as Denny went around Bubba was on the straight. He goes, I think I have a tire going down. And that was a good 10 laps or so before the Bell incident even happened.
Yeah.
But like you said, they cut the clip of him saying my tire's going down and played it the lap
over him falling back.
Went down. So it's like, no, dude, you just cut out 10 to 12 laps of him going from the bottom of the racetrack. And if you watch the entire video of his in-car, Bubba, he's over those 10 laps, 12 laps, whatever it was, he's slowly
further out of the groove.
Further and further out of the groove because something is wrong, making him lose. He can't make that turn. So whether he did that on purpose early then just to do it, because he knew what was going on, which they obviously found out that is what happened, at least they tried to do it a little bit sneakier than just saying over the radio, hey, you know what the plan is?
Yeah.
Like,
tried selling it. He made his car look like it was a tire was going down. He overdrove
just washing up a little bit. Like, it was believable, even like you said, Whitey, to this point, because I don't know if NASCAR really issued any kind of major in-depth statement from the penalties of like what they kind of were. I know they told them what the people were fined, but like, what was the rule they broke? What was the definition they used? Like, because man, I agree. Like, I would still love to know the SMT and if Bubba's tire or he did have something wrong. If not, kudos to him, man, because he sold it.
A great acting job if it is true. I'm checking the article now. So in the meantime, while that is happening, me and Matt were going wild for like 15 laps. I feel so duped and angry about it all because
that was going to be my checkers.
It looked awesome. So at the time, William Byron, he lost 2 positions. He was originally 4 positions ahead of Christopher Bell. He lost 2 positions. People are passing him. And then all of a sudden, Austin Dillon and Ross Chastain got side by side. Looked like they were battling each other, trying to get to William Byron. At the same time, you had Brad Keselowski behind them and one other car. I can't remember who else.
It was 7.
Was it the 7? So Justin... Right, Justin Haley, right?
Yeah.
They're all there battling for position. We thought they were like chain dogs nipping at the heels of William Byron. And then some team communication came out of the 3 teams saying the number 1 crew chief, he knows the deal, right? Or something along those lines. And it seems like they were holding up Brad Keselowski and the 7 from getting around them to try to pass William Byron, probably holding up a lot more guys at the same time. Let's see. So
they caught the 24 so fast, and it's dumb because we watched 500 fucking laps of that race where when you see a driver that gets caught from behind, they get passed within the next lap or 2 when you know it's someone slower. In that scenario, they caught that 24. Everyone knew the 24 was on old tires.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden with 20 to go, you can't get around them. Come on, that's not how this works. Right. We just watched 500 miles of this whole race. You mean to tell me we're not going to notice when you're not trying to get around somebody?
Right.
You know, it was so obvious that it was happening that, like, while the race was going on, I was checking Twitter and people with laps to go were already being like, what is going on here? NW55, like, you know what I mean? They were already comparing it to that, and it wasn't even over yet. That's how obvious it was that the 1 and the 3 were just never going to go around that 24.
So according to the rule book, the rule is just attempting to manipulate the outcome of a race or a championship. And also they whacked them with actions detrimental to stock car racing, which is a classic kind of catch-all.
Classic.
They didn't say what they were using as proof, probably just team communication. I know Denny Hamlin said they will appeal this, which I think they should. I feel like they at least have a better case to.
That's what I mean. If I'm 2311, I'm at least appealing it. Like, no doubt in my mind.
They must have a spot reserved for Denny Hamlin and 2311 Associates within that appeals room at this point.
He's got a direct line to all sorts of France members and stuff.
Actually, no, legally he probably can't.
Yeah, you have to go through lawyers and whatnot.
People, my people are going to be in touch with your people.
Which is how the appeals process works. Like they have to hire attorneys to go through all of this. It's a pretty in-depth, like legal type procedure. It should be interesting to see what happens.
In 4 days.
What's that?
We're gonna have to get it done in 3 days.
Well, I think they have until it's usually like Wednesday or Thursday they have to appeal, and then the process goes pretty quickly. But usually they'll give them a date where it's like in the next coming days. The
season ends on Sunday. Like they have to get it done.
NASCAR, it goes quick because NASCAR goes no.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
that's why it goes quick. No.
Yeah,
I mean
that's exactly right.
Well, I don't think it really matters in Denny's. Well, to the 23 at least, because even if it was finished after, settled after the season ends, then they just adjust the points to put Bubba where he deserves to be if they win versus if they don't.
Yeah, because none of this affects the
championship or anything
going forward. Yeah.
No, because like the highest he could finish is 17th anyways, and that's where he was. He's in 18th now, so all they would do is probably restore that, and then it probably just creates an ordeal of paying out the teams for the season finish and all that. But I mean, who knows how that process actually works? That's the only piece of NASCAR news I have for the week, though. Pretty light news week. There's some movement in the Xfinity series. Some guys speculating here and there where they're gonna go, but that's about it.
That Xfinity race was pretty good. I don't know if you guys caught that at all. No. I had it on, and it was that was a really good battle up front all day, which kind of got me excited for Sunday. You know, as the Xfinity series usually does, and I didn't like the outcome of it, but I got a little respect for Austin Hill after that. Like he showed a little emotion after the race. He, was celebrating with his family and everything. And it was just like, something about him always was just like, man, like he just wouldn't be fun to be around. But like that kind of changed a little bit after that race. And I guess for the pure fact that he won on a non-super speedway plate race. So
wait, what happened?
But it was a good race.
Cause whatchamacallit? Austin Hill won?
Yeah, wasn't he battling Aric Almirola?
No, Aric Almirola won. Austin Hill won the week before at Homestead. Is this right? No. What the fuck? Wait a minute.
Oh, why'd he get duped again?
No, I'm looking at NASCAR results on
Aric Almirola won.
So Almirola. So then I was confused about last week, but I remember battling Almirola and Almirola going back and forth, and I'm like, holy shit, Almirola, like he doesn't give a shit about these playoff guys. Like Sammy Smith needed a good run.
It's the Benadryl. The Benadryl's kicking in.
That's the thing. Did Austin Hill win last week? Did I have that? I don't even fucking know. Anyways. Did we do a show last week? I forget. Aric wasn't here.
You did. Aric was sick.
Eric's combining two NASCAR race weekends together because he didn't get to talk about it last week. What was the drama with Cole Custer and what was it? It wasn't Sammy Smith. It was someone else. Toyota
Chandler
guy.
Smith.
Chandler
Smith threw one of the weakest punches I've ever seen in my entire life at Cole Custer.
And then he backed up. He ran away.
Yeah. Cole Custer just standing there with his mustache, dude. His mustache it looked like his mustache was gonna get a fist come out of it and punch Chandler, dude. Like Cole Custer stood there like a fucking boss, and like he's like, dude, that like he didn't even try to punch back. That's how weak the punch was. Like it looked like Chandler Smith, not the biggest dude in the world either. So like, Cole Custer, he's a thicker fella.
I did see a quote from Cole Custer where he's like, I guess he hit me. I didn't really feel it.
Yeah, it was just like, I didn't think it warranted what went on, but obviously the playoff situation, it was amplified, but normal race, I don't think any of that would have happened. It was just, playoffs.
Did you guys see the truck race on Friday too? Apparently Christian Eckes won. Apparently he had an ordeal on pit road too with, I forget.
I missed the truck race on Friday.
That wasn't a punch.
No.
Right? He like opened.
It was like a slap. He like slapped him.
Yeah.
It was like a bitch slap, and then he backed away.
Like ran away. He goes, "Oh no, what did I do?"
Like,
Yeah,
no,
it was strange.
You punch and you step in for round 2.
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
And that's the thing. Like Aric said, Cole Custer, like he's not a big guy, but he's like a pudgier guy, you know. And I've seen him get into fights. He beat the shit out of who was it? John Hunter Nemechek at a road course years and years ago in the Truck
John
Series.
Krasinski from The Office pulling Custer away?
I think it might have been. Yeah. That's definitely John Krasinski from The Office pulling him away.
Yeah, Custer was just smiling, and he's like, I don't even know, like, what even just happened right now?
That's later season, Jim, when he grew a beard.
I was gonna say that's there's a show on that's 13 Hours, the movie about Benghazi.
Oh yeah, that's him. What should we call it? And then we had a cup race. Ryan Blaney, he led 3 times for 32 laps. Race lasted 3 hours, 28 minutes, 31 seconds. We saw 9 cautions for 66 laps, 15 lead changes among 7 different drivers. Top 5, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Austin Cindric, and Denny Hamlin. Fellas, what'd you think of the race? I gave it an A-.
Yeah, I just gave it just an A. Like, I thought it was, I put it this way. Martinsville was on the verge of falling out of my top 10 racetracks and racetracks that I get excited to see.
Mm-hmm.
It was there. It was on the line. Like, our buddies went a couple years ago. Race was terrible. It was cold. There was no action whatsoever. This car we know wasn't performing well on it. And I was getting upset about that. And you know, we had a fluke race at Bristol, which kind of kept us in for that for now. But Martinsville was there, and it was like, damn, like, what's going to happen here? Like, is this what we're going to get? And the whole weekend in general was awesome there. I just think that racetrack, which I guess I'll say it now, is my checkers. I just gave the racetrack as a whole for being back. Like, it just, I'm in again on Martinsville. Like, the Xfinity race, the Cup race, especially, like I know it was a playoff, I know it was a cutoff, but like, I still think the circumstances around it with what the car did, it would have produced no matter if it was a playoff race or not, in my eyes, the way that it raced out. I think it was a little warmer, which we always talked about that at these racetracks.
Helps the tire fall.
And Martinsville, it helps. This car, cold weather at these short tracks doesn't work. So,
we also had a softer tire this week.
I'm just happy to see Martinsville back.
Yeah, we also had a softer tire this week too. So I think
that's right. The right sides, they were using the option tire, I think.
Yep. And then I kind of agree. I said this was probably one of the best Martinsville races in this car. The new tire held up really well while still degrading for long runs and stuff. We saw a lot of comers and goers, a couple different strategies. I thought it was pretty good. How about you, Matt?
Agreed. I gave it a B+, but I mean, A, B+, you know, right around the same thing as you guys. Just kind of a mix of between what both of you said. You know, we had battles, you know, Denny starting from the back and then making his way through was so much fun to kind of watch. Yeah. And he actually do it, you know, and then you had Chase Elliott turning on. And then, you know, towards the end, it's, here comes Blaney like he did last year. And, you know, then you had the battle with Christopher Bell and William Byron before we really knew of all the malfeasance that was going on. You know, that was an excellent idea. One of the things I want to get in before was that, before we knew it was kind of manufactured, it looked like the pack chasing the 24 there was like a pack of dogs chasing a gazelle through the you know, we were so excited about it. Like you said, we were going back and forth like, holy shit, this is unbelievable what William Byron's doing. And then, you know, we got duped. Got duped. And it makes me want to give this race an F and NASCAR an F and say F a championship race and walk away for 4 months until Daytona. But I won't. You know, I've already had my temper tantrum. I sat out the best race of the year. I won't do that for the championship race. But God damn it, it was great racing. A great feel good win,
right?
overshadowed by bullshit once again.
again.
How many times have we sat here on a Tuesday night or a Monday night and this year alone and said, man, that was a great race. We saw great action, but
it's tainted.
There's always a but. And we've had 35 races, and I bet you we've said that about 20 of the races so far this year. And that's a fucking shame. And
Matt, I agree. And that's the problem I have with some of these people on Twitter and the social media world and the media, NASCAR in general, that, you know, they're like, oh, well, like, peel back all the bullshit and look at what the good racing we're getting out of it is. And I agree with that. But at a certain point, you have to address it.
Yeah.
It's in the same room. You know what I mean? You can't just keep putting a sheet over it like Big Daddy style. When you throw up on the bed, you can't just cover it with newspaper. It's still there. You have to acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Like, you could say like, oh, don't worry about all that bad stuff.
Think about the great race. Yeah,
I get that. And it would be fine if it was here and there. But it's not just here and there. Like Matt said, it's a majority of the weeks get overshadowed by the bullshit that happens at the end. And it's like the endings, we always say it, like if they just go green and NASCAR doesn't get involved, they're still A races. And by them getting involved, it makes them look even worse. And now we are where we are here, but you can't just hide the fact that it happens more often than it doesn't. You just can't hide that.
You know what, though? It's all good because you good?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God, I got nervous. It's okay. Well, see, it doesn't matter because you're a bot. You don't have feelings. You don't have emotions.
Yeah.
Whitey, you're a bot.
Yeah.
I'm a bot. We don't have actual opinions.
It's all just AI generated.
Fans on social media that are bots.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Denny Hamlin mentioned on his podcast this week that he was talking to the NASCAR director of media or something like that, and he goes, you know, a lot of people on social media and Twitter are really dogging the playoff format, and he goes, well, you can't follow all that because it's full of bots. He's been backpedaling. That guy, I forget his name. He's been backpedaling ever since.
That guy is perfectly fine for him. So doesn't matter his name.
That guy on Twitter is getting dragged through the mud by NASCAR Twitter, and I love watching it. I tweeted at him earlier today too, but he's been backpedaling the last 2 days since that statement, saying that wasn't the full context of the conversation, and he was just saying how those social medias are full of bots. Sure, when it comes to, you know, elections and stuff like that, and spam bots for naked lady accounts and stuff. Yeah. You know the ones that are legit. You know the ones that you go back and forth with that are like constantly.
Okay, yeah, you start to recognize certain people, and if they like something then you're kind of like, I'll take their word for it, and you build a sense of you know, like your own. Okay, I got a decent data pool of people that are going to give me what I need for a feel of how the NASCAR fan base is going. We all, you know, that you could pick up on that stuff, and they're just choosing to just completely ignore it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they, I guess all the people that call into NASCAR radio all the time complaining about the playoffs are bots as well. We're
all bots in our own right. You know what I mean? Like, to other people, like, I do consider those trucker people that call it a Moody, they're bots, dude. Like, they are just as good as a bot.
They're bots in a simulation, man. They're bots in a simulation.
Exactly.
What should we call it? I did want to touch back on how me and Matt thought it was like dogs chasing that gazelle. I got so mad at Austin Dillon at the moment too, where I was texting like, man, like Austin Dillon or Ross Chastain just need to concede, that way they can get single file and gain some momentum to pass Byron out. And sure enough, they were never going to.
Man, it's the same feeling when we're 10 years old, 9 years old, watch Stone Cold versus The Rock. You think what you're watching is real, but then you find out, wait a second, it's all manipulated.
It's still real to me, damn it.
I haven't had that feeling. I haven't had that feeling in 30 years, 25 years.
It is. And you want to what, like, like we know that there's manipulation and stuff. Like, obviously there is. You just look at Daytona, Talladega, and the manufacturers working together there. You know, of course there's going to be some here and there. We just didn't think it was going to be that egregious. And it was pretty fucking egregious.
Balls, which we know they don't. They would have done something to Chevy and Toyota.
Yeah. No, for real. The problem is they're
the ones running it. These manufacturers right now, I mean, it's clear as day that they run it. A lot of those radios said this is from Team Chevy. This is from Chevy. That's coming down from the top. So is NASCAR running this, or are the OEMs running this, or are both of them running it? And the people that are out there are just part of this fucking game that they're all playing with one another. Like that, it's crazy to me that they didn't, like Matt said, they didn't mention the Chevy thing one time. Like they didn't even, I wish Christopher Bell never went into the wall at Martinsville, because they immediately went to that and put all of their fucking
right there
shit onto that thing. And they let everything else fall into the weeds and then address it days later
afterwards
when everyone's already spent and burnt out over it. Now you say that they're penalized. Okay, here you go. And they're just going to move on now. And it's like, no, wait a minute. You had an OEM manufacturer giving orders to teams to manipulate a race? That is fucking huge. I'm sorry, but that is insanely huge.
And you want to know what? Honestly, it's way worse, in my opinion, than what Michael Waltrip Racing did. Because now you're involving different organizations into your whole entire scheme. You know?
Right. You know, I agree.
Yeah.
It is worse than what Michael Waltrip, because Michael Waltrip Racing really only kept it in-house. You know what I mean?
And they're tangling the web. They're weaving teams in and out of each other by holding them accountable, saying like, hey, you're a Chevy, so you have to follow what we say.
There's three different teams involved in this now.
That's crazy talk. And it's like, well, no, if you don't do it, guess what? You're going to look like LMC. You want to be a fucking top Chevy team, or do you want to be fucking a shit biker fucking club that just rides around 33rd all day?
And at the end of the day, is that really what we want to be fucking wasting our time on every Saturday, every Sunday for fucking 36 years?
No,
Matt, that's when you boycotted it the other week. That's exactly what a lot of these like fans are saying. It's like, dude, like you could pull the wool over our eyes so many times, but at a certain point, like we see your product for what it is. And no matter how many times, like as a fan, I'm tired of getting blamed.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Like I'm tired of getting the
well, you just don't like it. You just don't like it, you know?
Yeah, it's like, no, fuck you, dude. You don't listen to anything you say. You badmouth all of our fucking ideas. Then you beg us to come to the fucking racetracks. We do that. We get your sport back to where it fucking needs to be, on the rise, filling the fucking grandstands at these places. And then what do you give us? You manipulate the races. You fuck up the end of races, and it's like, why would we stick around for that?
10 years ago, Aric, if me and you had an honest conversation with each other, and we said in 10 years from now, a majority of our friends are not only going to be NASCAR fans, but we're going to be doing a NASCAR podcast with Whitey, and we're going to be taking 10, 15, 20 people, not taking, but we're going to have 10, 15, 20 people coming to the racetrack with us every year because they genuinely want to be there. They genuinely want to watch the racing. We would have called each other crazy, right? If we had that conversation 10 years ago.
1,000%.
Here we are. We've devoted time and interest trying like hell to get people around us invested in the sport, because for our entire lives, we've loved this sport. But over the past 3 years, 4 years, something changed. And I don't know if it's front office changes. The power structure. I don't know what, something changed. And NASCAR, I'm embarrassed that we've wasted our, Whitey, I'm genuinely mean this. I'm sorry for wasting your time over the past 5 years.
That's okay. It is.
That's what I know, Matt. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed as a fan.
This isn't the sport that we fell in love with. This isn't the sport that we sold you guys on just 5, 7 years ago. It's not. And
you want to know, it's unfortunate because they did have such great momentum, and they still do have a lot of great momentum.
It's there, but they're playing hot potato with it.
I think
Hamlin's there, but they're playing hop. Oh, who wants to be the one to take the blame for the downfall, and nobody wants to hold on to that bag?
I think some of the most damning things too are comments from the drivers, like Brad Keselowski, who's an owner and the driver.
Like it's like all these guys are like, when you have, are they bots?
Yeah.
Is Kevin Harvick a bot?
Brad,
like when he said, like it's.
The first thing Brad Keselowski said on Twitter was, "I hope this is the last straw that breaks the camel's back of the playoffs." You know, and legit. Even Denny Hamlin on his podcast, he was talking about the dam of legitimacy, which is a video I sent to you guys a while back, talking about how the NASCAR playoffs is broken, and it has been broken. And just every season, we kind of see some exposure where it's like, oh, there's a little flaw in this playoff format. Here's another little flaw. Here's another little flaw. I know Kevin Harvick, my brother sent me the clip too, talking about, you know, giving some of the guys kind of a bye where it's like, oh, for regular season champion, automatic bid to the championship 4. Second place in points at the end of the regular season, automatic bid into the round of 8, you know, and such and such. That way it gives you reason to, you know,
It makes the top 4 in points battle meaningful so that people are trying to get into that top 4. And for racing hard and being consistent all year and finishing in the top 4, you should get rewarded for that. And I like that idea. But there's still a lot more that could be done. But I like that actually Harvick and someone that was in this situation in a race car as a driver is finally giving an input that's worthwhile. Everyone seems to not want to even comment on it as far as drivers. They just kind of give their PR answers. Yeah. But now that Harvick's retired, I'm glad that he's finally giving an honest opinion of what he thinks would be a little bit more fair, or not fair, but crowning a champion that everyone is a deserved champion. I think that's where everyone's kind of at.
What about going back to whatever, you name the number of cars, it doesn't fucking matter. 12, 16, 10. And there's no rounds. The last 10 races is a shootout of accumulation of points.
Yeah.
And may the best team win.
I like that. So I wasn't a fan.
That's what the chase was.
It's what the chase was.
I was about to ask. I wasn't a fan during the chase era. So what was the chase for the championship? Because I know it was 10 guy kind of playoff format, which I think 10 is actually perfect, to be honest with you.
And then they went 12, and that's when they did the 13 with Jeff Gordon, that whole ordeal.
After Michael Waltrip Racing.
Yep. But yeah, I just think a majority of the fans right now, like Matt said, are maybe in our range that are getting irritated, and we want to see a consistent champion. We want to see someone that is talked about all year, that is in contention on a week-to-week basis. I mean, you can have slumps. People go through slumps every once in a while. That's the sport of NASCAR, fine. But, like, when you're in a slump, I'm talking slump. When you're a championship caliber driver, your slump is running 8th, 9th, 10th. You need to be that caliber of a driver, in my eyes, to be able to say that I'm running for a championship. And it's just funny that the graphic for the 4 that were eliminated is a better championship 4 than the 4 that are currently going for the championship.
So I was just bringing up those graphics. So there was a driver's ranking, and it was the round of 4 championship drivers right now. Points per race. Joey Logano is ranked 14th of all drivers. Ryan Blaney 7th. Tyler Reddick 6th, and William Byron 5th. So again, Logano didn't even deserve to be in the round of 8.
They just show basically that the 4 that are out are in the top 4 in every fucking category.
Yeah. Now,
and the 4 that are in, I mean, there's some that are okay, they're decent at, but the majority is like, you got it wrong. The playoff format is getting this wrong.
Yeah.
It's Larson, Bell, Hamlin, and Chase Elliott were the 4. If you look at
1, 2, 3, and 4
are the 4 that should be racing for a championship, and they're the 4 that are not racing. The wrong 4 got in, and it's just another. And I'm Whitey. Listen, regular season champion had a great year.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you can not maybe you can make an argument for Tyler Reddick deserving to be there, but the other three deserving to be in there over some variation of Larson, Bell, Chase, and
Hamlin. Absolutely not. Yeah, Hamlin. I totally agree with you. I do, because you want to know what, like, honestly, I think one of the biggest travesties right now is Chase Elliott not making it, because he had such a strong playoffs. Like, he has been so strong the last couple of weeks. He just doesn't have the wins. He's leading
your fucking Winston Cup right now. So
everything but win. He did everything but win,
and that was his only downfall. Same thing with like Larson. I can see
Blaney of 2020 fucking 2 is Chase Elliott, where we're all like, Blaney's gonna win, but he doesn't have a win, but he's fucking finishes third every goddamn week, and you're like, I remember going back and forth, like, I would be perfectly fine with a season like that.
Yeah.
A winless person winning the championship, like,
because it was
in
consistency.
my eyes, that was earned.
That's the hardest way to earn the championship.
Yeah.
You know, like, absolutely. Right. I totally agree with that.
Of course, Aric, wait a second. Of course, Aric has that stance.
Well, yeah. That's the way.
Rightfully so. I agree. I'm with you, but of course you have that stance.
I mean, that's the way what some people consider the last true champion was crowned. So, I mean, I don't know.
Don't be right.
It is. I agree.
I agree too. I'm with you.
That's why.
Listen, it took me, and I'm the first person to admit when I'm wrong. And I was a fan of the playoff. I mean, dude, you can go back to past probably but this is our 4th full season doing this. I'd say the first 2 full seasons, I was a playoff stan, man. I stood right here, sat right here, or some variation of this is like my 5th studio, but sat in front of this computer and said, guys, it's the playoffs. Like, how could you say no to this? This is awesome. And just, again, slowly over the past probably 18 months,
it's because
go back midway through last season, like, what do we do? And like, then reality kind of dawned on me, and I snapped out of it. And it's like, no, this doesn't make sense what we're doing here. Like, it's not just because every other sport has a playoff or elimination rounds or brackets or whatever you want to call it, doesn't mean we have to. Like, it's motorsports is a whole different animal. And like, keep in mind, we're having like that in-season tournament next year. That's fucking cool. Let's do that, but let's carry on with the rest of the season. You know what I mean? Like, you could have a little gimmick thing like that thrown in the middle of the season. It doesn't, besides a payout for drivers, like, it doesn't have any real bearing on the point standings. Like, do something fun like that. Make it interesting for a block of the summer. But like, when it comes to crowning our champion, like, let's do it the way we've always done it.
And that's the thing. You can still do it with a playoff system. You just have to adjust the playoff system to kind of get rid of some of the things that cause the controversies in the first place. Like, first of all, get rid of winning you're in. Like, get rid of that guarantee. If you want
easiest thing that they could do, just that's like the baseline for what they do. Get rid of that.
And if you're like, oh, well, we still want to reward wins more, well, just have them pay out more playoff points or something like that. That way you're accumulating playoff points. And then when you get a Harrison Burton who wins, like, yeah, you got 15 playoff points, but like, you didn't have enough regular season points to get into the playoffs, so they don't matter. You know, and then that takes away points from someone else in the long run, where it's like, oh, well, if only I just won this race, then I would have gotten further along in the playoffs. You know, like, little tiny changes like that could be made too. And then, like, a lot of people have been saying this last couple of years, have your final a 3-race average playoff, not a 1-race winner takes all, because again, there's too many variables when it comes to racing. There's too many ways that guys can manipulate races. I mean, the only reason why Joey Logano won his championship 2 years ago was because Ryan Blaney was blocking second place for him the whole entire time, because Ryan Blaney didn't make it to the round of 4. You know, like, stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you have these races where you could create the same quote unquote entertainment that they're looking for. I would like to see them not eliminate drivers either, because now imagine you do a 10 race playoff where, okay, in those 10 races, these guys make it. And like, those first 3 races, let's say you have a bad 3 races, but the next 7 you dominate.
Yeah.
You look at how much Christopher Bell was up 30 plus 39 to the fucking good going into Martinsville, and he didn't make it. So there's big swings that could happen. So I don't like the fact that like the drivers get knocked down and knocked out, because like there's so many times when a guy starts so slow and then like give him an opportunity. Like he made it into the playoffs, like accrue the points, don't drop anybody. And it's making a mini fucking season at that point. Like, I just think that'll create like, hey, like the big points gaps. It's just like the cutoff line. Can this guy crawl out of this hole in these first couple races? And by race fucking 10, the championship race, could he get himself back in a position for that final race, points wise, to contend?
Yeah.
And it's like that's the way it was. I don't know. I just think it's so easy, and they just have to make it confusing because that's just what they fucking do at this point. But
this is a question, guys, not to get really in the weeds, and I don't need to go too far into this. What do you think about getting rid of stages?
I don't know, because we saw.
I don't mind stages.
You could, but you need to give points then somehow
throughout the race.
The reason I will never agree to get rid of stages is for the pure fact that I agree that the driver should get rewarded for how well they did for the portion of race that they were in. That is why I'm pro stage no matter what.
Great point. No, I'm with you. That's we've talked about this before, and I always forget that
and
point.
If there's a way that they could award points to drivers without throwing that, like saying, okay, here you go, these are stage points, stage wins for you without stopping like that.
No, you're
fine,
right.
But I just think, man, that helps drivers so much that blow it at the end of a race, but they still accrue 20 extra points because they were running really well. They shouldn't get punished for running really well for 95% of the race, and a brake rotor goes with 2 to go, and now you get nothing out of that race when you dominated it.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, stages are good in that.
Caught up in somebody else's bullshit, or Aric, I'm 100% with you on that. Nah, that's pretty much the end all be all conversation with stage points. The conversation there.
Oh, I had something right before that. Now I can't remember. I don't know. It'll come to me. You guys want to do the checkers and wreckers, though? You want to jump into that?
3 wide for the lead. 1 lap to go.
It's this week's checkers and wreckers.
All right. And I remember what I was going to say right before there. The problem with the playoffs, it creates some of these exciting things. Like, how exciting was it watching the cutoff battle during Martinsville? So, like, the manufactured shit they're doing, it works, but at the same time, it blows up in their face half the time with shit like this, and that's the problem.
What cost? You know what I mean? Because it's like, we love that. We could point out over the past 10 years how many countless awesome moments that probably wouldn't have been there if it weren't for the playoffs. But like, at what cost?
Exactly, because then you take away natural awesome shit that could happen too, because you're manufacturing kind of cool shit, you know what I mean? But let's jump into the checkers and wreckers. Matt, I think we share the same checkers. If you want to give that one, I'm going to jump in on that too. So
yeah, we can kind of go back and forth on that. But my checkers is to Blaney. I mean, it's easy, right? It's low hanging fruit, but I mean, dude, the guy did it again. He did it last year. He did it again. Just clutch when you have to be clutch to get into the championship race. And he's really good at Phoenix. And, you know, he put himself in position to be a 2-time defending champion here. It's going to be interesting to see what he does in Phoenix. But just the short of it is just Ryan Blaney gets my checkers.
I think it's most impressive, too, that he did it the exact same way, where last year at Homestead he came in second. Last week at Homestead he came in second. Last year he won. This week he won. Now he came in second in Phoenix last year, so we'll see if second place gets that championship in Phoenix or not. But yeah, just a super impressive run. He qualified 14th too, so he qualified in the middle of the pack. Had to really fucking work for it too. He got up to 5th in stage 1, and then he second in stage 2. course, won the race, led 3 times for 32 laps. He was running his ass off though. And it was a lot of fun to watch him passing cars too. Especially kind of going back to like the past Martinsville races we've kind of seen weren't the best in this car. So the problem is like kind of back to what we were talking about before, like, yeah, we're getting really good races here and there, but again, they're overshadowed with kind of bullshit. So yeah, I totally agree with that. How about your records? What's your records for the weekend?
Man, it just goes to Toyota. One Toyota, Denny Hamlin, finished inside the top 17.
Yeah, that's rough.
That sit for a second. It's been a weird ass year for Toyota, whether it be whatever the hell's been going on with Martin Truex Jr. in that 19 car, where, you know, and then you have Bell, who's had issues up and down throughout the season. He's the top 2 or 3 driver, but he has his issues, and Reddick's had his up and down issues, and the 23 of Bubba Wallace didn't really meet the expectations that I think everyone kind of held for him this year. And Ty Gibbs, another one we talked about it a couple of weeks ago.
Fell apart.
I thought he was gonna get 3-4 wins this year. He was knocking on that door, never got it. And Toyota's just been a little off all year. They've had flashes because
they're very wavy. Like they'll have spurts where Bell finishes fucking top 3 5 weeks in a row, and then for the next 5 weeks he blows a motor, blows a tire, engine goes down, camber's off, toe link goes, oil comes out of the fucking 54 car. Truex has so it seems like they go through these spurts. You're right, Matt, of like very weird stuff sometimes that starts it, that triggers these things in races for Toyota. But it's one thing that made me nervous going into this, playoffs or championship run here, is how inconsistent that they could be. I think the Fords also were that way, and I think it's why I kind of was irritated the last couple of championships too, because the Fords have been so inconsistent, and they're just finding ways to win when they need to, it's all part of it. But man, it's like, I think that's why like Hendrick and Chevy were getting so mad, because you have all of these resources in Team Hendrick to put all 4 cars in the championship, and all of a sudden one gets DQ'd.
Yeah.
Not in the championship. Chase Elliott, fucking dollar short, right at the end, second place, led, like had an opportunity. Yeah, he's out.
He led 5 times.
Now you have William Byron, who made it in on the skin of his damn teeth here at the end by race manipulation.
Yeah.
And you have Kyle Larson, who has double the amount of wins as the next guy, who doesn't even make it in. So now you're Hendrick, you're Chevy, you're going all season long. We dominated for what? For what to get out of the end of this season? And it's like they just watch Ford struggle all year. Joey Logano runs 15th, and him and Blaney win 2 races here in the playoffs, and now they're in the championship 4. And Chevy's probably looking in the mirror being like, how is this happening? What is going on? How can we put an end to this?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it does. It comes down to, do you want to dominate the regular season? Do you want to have this speed in the regular season? Or do you just want to have this quote unquote, I don't want to call it luck, because, when you go out there and you need to win and you win, there's more to it than luck. But God damn it, it just seems like Chevy and Toyota are just scratching their heads being like, what does all this good speed and winning races do if we can't even get cars in the championship 4 at the end of it all, when they're definitely top 4 quality cars? And it's just like, man, that's when you break it down like that and you think of it like that, it really, really does undermine this whole system of just not even letting 10 drivers have an opportunity over 10 races to point and win a championship. It just, it doesn't do that. It doesn't give everybody that same opportunity. And I guess it does, because that's the rules they're all playing under, obviously. But it's just, man, everyone could see for what it is. And if I'm Chevy, I'm definitely butthurt.
I was curious. I just checked too. After the reset, Alex Bowman is still 8th in points. So like Hendrick had all 4 of their drivers in the top 8 in points. And like you said, like they were one controversy away from not making the playoffs for any of them, or not making the championship race for any of them.
And what's crazy is too, if Larson goes to Indy, our regular season champion isn't in.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Because Tyler Reddick's not the regular season champion at that point.
Exactly.
But then you have to think about the extra 15 points that would have been paid out in playoff points too. That might have made a difference. That kind of changes everything. Because I don't know how many Larson was out by.
Well, he needed a win. It was a significant amount. It wasn't like single digits it was with Byron and
but again, just that little bit of safety kind of changes how you race all the playoff races too.
But still, it doesn't matter at that point. Like you could just say like your regular season champion wouldn't
have made
be
the championship
and
race.
It's like, even if not, like you still have a guy that won double the amount of races that the next guy did that's not in, and it's like. Right. It just seems like if NASCAR is all about winning, this is what I preach. If NASCAR loves the wins, if it's so hard to win, and if winning is the end all be all, lock yourself in, how the fuck does the winningest driver in your fucking season not make the championship 4? You idiots, you complete fucking morons that put every emphasis on winning. Win, you're in, win this, win that. It's so hard to fucking win. Well, guess what? The guy that won double the amount isn't in your championship race. Good fucking job, you idiots.
You blew it. It's true.
And to a common sense person, you explain it to them that way. They're like, why would I invest in that?
Yeah.
And that's, lo and behold, where we're at the end of a season.
If NASCAR as an idea, if we brought NASCAR as an idea to Shark Tank.
They'd shit them all over.
The Sharks, and we explained everything, right? The rule system, the points, the way everything worked, the way the champion is crowned. The 4 sharks on that show would be like, yeah, we're not going to invest. It makes no sense to us. No, thank you. We're out.
The problem is NASCAR isn't a true sport. It's an advertising vehicle, and that is it.
Yeah.
That is it. That is it. In fact, you want to know what? The Sharks
big infomercial for fucking as seen on TV product.
That's the thing. The Sharks would love it because all it is just a vehicle for advertisement and consumerism, and that's what it comes down to. They don't care.
Yeah, NASCAR belongs in a box in the basement of fucking Boscov's is where it belongs.
That's shit on Boscov's. Too. Like corporate America ruining everything because where our sport started was the anti all that, right?
Bootlegging.
Like anti-establishment, anti-rules, running moonshine, running from the cops. That's where this sport started, and now where it is, it's like the total opposite. Like we lost the true identity of what this. And you'll have the Pete Pistonis of the world saying like, "Well, you gotta progress. You gotta advance through life. You can't be what you were and apply the values of the 1950s to 2020." And he's right for a little bit. Like you gotta like stay true to who you are.
Keep some of that core.
Has grown so much further away from who they really are as a sport, and it's sad. It's sad.
Anyways, Eric, did you give your checkers and wreckers?
My checkers, I kind of hinted at it when I was going through my race. It went to Martinsville, just being back in my radar. Being back in my top racetracks that I get excited for to get to and to watch on TV now. So I just thought it produced Friday through Sunday, and it's given me a little bit of confidence going back there next season with what I've seen with these new tire combinations and this car. So Martinsville as a whole, I'm happy to be excited about Martinsville again. My wreckers, it just went to Seabell. That spin early was on him.
Yeah.
No one touched him. Put him already in a bad spot there. Has to change strategy. Has to change this. Dug himself in a hole. Hasn't done it all playoffs. And the one time that he does, it's the last race that he can't make up. So now he gets screwed.
Yeah.
Which, that's fucking the way the rules are now. But I do believe that despite what happened at the end of the race, he was to blame a little bit, during the race and putting himself in that situation. So you got to be accountable. Bell, it was just not the time when he needs to usually be clutch, kind of fell short of that.
All right. And sorry about that, Matt. I was just trying to get the show back on the rail.
I went on this big diatribe and then just no. Anyway,
no, I agree. I get it. You're right. It's just
I'm kidding. Man.
Yeah. Then
we need to continue on with the show.
Yeah, and my Wreckers is just the controversy, and that's it. That's it. We did have a good race. We saw some comers and goers. Chase Elliott had a great day. Kyle Larson had a pretty good day. He led once for 71 laps, finished third.
The battles up front were great all day.
The battles were awesome.
Rarely do we get battles up front. And that is why I think we like Martinsville and Bristol, is because they're short tracks and you kind of get some racing up front because you're the lap traffic and they get opportunities to pass. And it was real race. That Chase Elliott and I forget who he was racing. It might have been Blaney. Him and Blaney going back and forth was just an awesome battle up front.
No, it was. But yeah, I mean, besides the controversy though, at that point we're going into the championship race. There's not a whole lot else to talk about besides that. But here on the Bumper Run podcast, everyone loves to talk about the winner, one Ryan Blaney, which we actually did talk about Ryan Blaney a little bit today. We also have to talk about the loser. It was one Josh Bilicki. He was in the field apparently running the 66 car. He had some brake issues on lap 131, which I think was the end of the stage. I think they just pulled it into the garage at the end of the stage there. And we are heading to Phoenix for the championship race. We'll crown our NASCAR champion this Sunday. We'll crown all three champions this weekend. Trucks on track Friday night, 8 p.m. on FS1. I tell you what, I am looking forward to watching the truckers drive 5 wide at Phoenix. It's going to be a shit show. I can't wait. And then Xfinity on track Saturday, 7:30 on the CW. And of course, Cup on track Sunday, 3 p.m. on NBC. To go over our picks from last week, Matt, you were the big winner. You picked one William Byron. He got you 46 points. Aric picked Chase Elliott. He got you 45 points. And I
mathematically locked up my Winston Cup championship?
I think so. I think you did, because
this week, if you fumbled this week, I think I would have had a shot if you fumbled. Yeah.
So we're going into the last race of the season with the champion already crowned.
And I picked Christopher Bell. He got me 20 points. I came in last. So, Matt, you overall season points right now, you have 1,106. Aric has 1,048. I think the max amount of points that could be paid off is 60 points to the winner, right? If they win both stages and win the race. So I think as long as your pick doesn't come in dead last and Aric's pick doesn't win both stages and win the race.
No.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
There is still a mathematical chance that you lose. I'm going to say it's not likely. But again, who knows? Crazier things have happened. But I pick first for Phoenix. I think you guys know I have to pick them, right? I'm going with our defending champion, one Ryan. No, I got to pick Tyler Reddick. So we'll see what he does. But how about you, Aric? You pick next. Who do you think wins in Phoenix or wins the championship? I guess both. I mean, Ross Chastain won the race last year, and he wasn't in. So,
I mean, at this point, with how desperate that Chevy is to get a driver into the championship, it only seems logical that they're going to pull even more strings to get themselves a championship after the Blue Ovals absolutely embarrassed them, pulled their nuts out, and stomped on them the last 2 years. I'm going with the 24 of Slick Willie 2 Clocks.
All right, I like it. How about you, Matt?
Man, I just want to say Chase Elliott. Like, I want to.
I know.
I
know. Yeah. I picked him last week to win. Like, I had this weird. Like, he's just been on such a run.
You could pick Chase to win the race, and he has a chance.
I know I could, but like
again, Ross Chastain won last year.
I almost picked Bowman to win the race.
I would love to see Alex Bowman win in Phoenix. He's a
you guys are
hometown guy.
obviously your winner is your champion because it has to be that.
Yeah.
where if I don't pick either Blaney or Logano, well, if I don't pick who's available? Not Logano.
Blaney and Logano.
Yeah. All right. So if I don't pick Blaney, I'm picking Chase. No,
I like it
because they're going to put a lot of resources towards Willie. I'm picking Blaney. All
right. But I would bet some money on Chase Elliott just in case. You never know. We're going into the playoff race or the final race. Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Christopher. I keep wanting to say Christopher Bell. William Byron going to race for a championship this Sunday. Who will it be? Will it be one of those four guys or will it be Chase Elliott coming home with the race win? We will find out this Sunday, 3 p.m. on NBC. Will it be Slick Willie 2 Clocks? Will it be Ryan Blaney or will it be Tyler Reddick? If Joey Logano wins, we all riot.
If Joey Logano wins, this is the last podcast of the season. If Joey Logano wins,
listen. Regardless of who wins the NASCAR championship, there might be riots going on in this country anyway. So
that's why I said at the top of the show, most important race in the country right now is happening this week. And it happens in Phoenix. We'll see what happens, and we'll break it all down for you next Tuesday night. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Aric Daytona Ron, unless Joey Logano wins, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night. The Bump and Run!
There it is.